Welcome to The Funnel. My name is John Shane. I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 264 of The Funnel. 4 tips to help you reinforce sales training. Before we begin, I want to remind you, head on over to alignment-group.com/The Funnel. Subscribe, and you will receive a free coaching call. I've been very busy on those coaching calls, and I'm enjoying every one of them, so don't miss out. There's some good stuff I can help you with there. Okay, our today's agenda: plan, execution, tools, and discipline. Plan. Okay, so we all have signed ourselves up, or our sales department up, for sales training. If you're in a management role or a business owner role, you've done this probably countless times. You've listened to whatever has been said to you by sales reps or online interaction with consultants, whatever it is, and I'm one of those people, right? And you get real excited about the benefits and the outcome of training. Unfortunately, you go into it thinking that I'm paying this money. They're going to provide the sales training. The sales reps are going to listen and do what they're supposed to do, and my numbers are going to go up. And that's really the biggest commitment I have as a manager or business owner, is to authorize this, tell everybody they have to do it, and in some cases pay for it out of a budget, or if you own the company, your own money. And I would say that that's a pretty poor plan. You need to sort of think about what it's going to take to have some level of success. First, you have to understand that it's a commitment to the long term. You cannot look at this as a short window of time. In 2 weeks, someone's coming in to spend 4 days to train us on sales. They'll take it to the field, they'll work it, and everything will be fine. Or maybe it's a series of weeks, or it's online, or whatever you've decided to do. I'm a big believer in the paced training, where it takes a little bit of time so you get practical field experience against what you're learning. So you can take it to the field, come back, and get some coaching on that. But whatever you do, plan for the long term. Create some live events where you get everybody together and you have some fun around it. Happy hour is not a bad idea after the first training class. Happy hour is not a bad idea after you're sort of done, to get together to celebrate the fact that you've succeeded in finishing the course. Now, I'm throwing happy hour out there. There's a lot of things you do, a lot of events. You can do some fun stuff, some sales contests, prizes, things like that, where you spend time going through what you've learned and turn it into sort of a game. I would definitely get on the calendar the meetings. And I'm not talking just a single one-on-one. I'm talking first team meetings. And that's outside of your normal weekly, let's say you have a group team meeting and it's a half an hour and you just cover the particulars of what's going on in your company at that time. So really what you should be scheduling is meetings that go through bits and pieces of the training, practical applications in the field, real live scenarios that you can sit and talk about and provide advice and feedback to those in the room. That should definitely be on the calendar. It should be indefinite. So don't just say, well, we're going to do this for 3 months. Let's say a lot longer than that, to make sure that you're getting the point across. It's getting infused into your day-to-day sales life. Coaching sessions should always be on the docket, right? So you have weekly coaching sessions or field rides that are part of the coaching session. You need to build in the discussion about the sales training and what you've learned into those coaching sessions. And then, of course, sharing success. Everyone should share where they've succeeded and, quite frankly, where they failed. So we can talk about what happened and how it happened. Sometimes you lose deals because you lose deals, right? You're not going to win every one. A very big influence in my sales life, Alan Elkin, who recently passed away, is a mentor of mine, used to say, and I'm here between Baltimore and Washington's my marketplace. And we worked out of Baltimore when I worked for him. And Cal Ripken's a Hall of Fame baseball player, shortstop for the Orioles. And at the time I was there, it was sort of nearing the end of his career. when I first started there. And he used to say on his best day, Cal hits 30%. On his best day, he hits 30%. In other words, don't expect to win every deal. But share those successes, share those failures, figure out what you could have done differently, tweak it, add to it, staying within the confines of your sales training, right, to build that in. Shouldn't be all you talk about, but you know what I mean, because that's what we're talking about, the tips here to ensure success. That's one of them. Next is execution. Okay, so everybody thinks if they put their salespeople through a training class, or people go through a training class, that execution is the byproduct of that, is the natural outcome of sales training. Most of us who've sat through sales training really, really pay attention and think about that for a second. That's laughable, because most of the scenarios they're using are fake. In the end, everybody wins, right? There's no, you take it to its logical conclusion, you sell the deal, you move on through the training and the examples and the PowerPoint presentations and the role plays, et cetera, et cetera. The truth is that execution in the field is a completely different animal. First and foremost, managers should lead by example, and I've said that. Accepting nothing less than utilizing the newfound sales training or the new sales training in the field when you're together, when you're not together, is the only thing you will accept. Using it with your sales rep when you're in these coaching sessions or you're attending meetings with them proves that you're leading by example. And here's the part that I think in the execution that really needs to hit home, is training to tactical execution. So what happens is you come through these sales training classes, and one of the things that you end up seeing is sort of this antiseptic presentation, this very clean, it's clean role play, where the outcome is inevitable because there's no real pressure. You're sitting in front of your sales peers and you're going through a role play, and eventually you get through it. Most training classes, they're pretty tough on you, but you end up with the opportunity or the deal, and then maybe you grade against different groups, and I've done that before. What I'm talking about here is training to the tactical, real life, real world, field problems, field execution. In other words, you're out in the field, you see something that happened with a rep, you should be writing that down. And your next meeting with the team, you need to train on that. This is what happened, and this is the curveball they threw at us. This is why we answered this way, and we got to the next step. Role play through that. Put some exercises together based on real world scenarios that you've been involved with or your top reps have been involved with and the outcomes associated with that. And then role play through that, manage through that. Train to that field execution, not to the execution in the sales training environment where everybody wins, because it doesn't always work that way. So it's like, think about sports, right? The NFL, football, the United States. Okay, it's every Sunday. Now it's Mondays and Thursdays and every other day. But every team goes into the week starting on Tuesdays. Usually Monday's a day off. They start on Tuesday, and they start implementing the game plan for the following week. The plays they're going to run on offense, how they're going to defend the other team, what they're going to do in particular situations. And in their world, in that planning world, everything works out. We take the ball, we hand it to this person, we pass it over, and then we score. Then we give it to them, then we stop them from scoring, then we score again. But the truth is that never really works out because they're planning to play against you, and they're making maybe some adjustments or changes then from what you saw the week before. So what do? Well, a good team adjusts on the fly, makes some changes, tweaks some plays to make it work against what's happening right now. That's the tactical execution. They had it all mapped out, but it's never exactly the way it's supposed to go. So we have to adjust to make sure we execute in that moment. That's what we need to do here. Next up is tools. So let's talk about some of the tools that can help you execute this properly. First of all, CRM. You need your CRM to be built to handle this sales methodology that you're using. So you need to build the terms, the documentation, the information into the CRM. So everyone's speaking the same language. You can't just do a training class and then forget about it everywhere else. So if you have, for example, your sales process built into the CRM, and each step of the sales process, you need to go into that process, make sure that it lines up properly, and that the terminology you're using, the steps you're using, all match what you've been trained on. You definitely need content. So what do you mean by content? I mean sales training content, whether it's tactical execution. We just went through that tactical execution. Wouldn't it be great to do a one sheet on how that execution was done, so they can look at it and review it? One-sheeters on the different parts of the methodology, so that it can help them while they're in the field. Maybe it's a document as they're going through the qualifying process with some of the questions there, so they know, they get used to doing it because it's right in front of them, or an outline on what they should do next. Small little pieces of content, not a 300-page book. You do it one bite at a time. Little chunks, little one-sheeters, little things that are going to help them be successful. I don't care if it's 3x5 cards. I went through a training class years ago we used an assessment, and there was some hiring stuff, and the guy gave out 3x5 cards that you could use going through your interview process. I thought it was awesome. Now, I used to take those 3x5s and I'd copy them right onto a sheet of paper. So at the top, I had the 3x5, but underneath, I had a place to put notes. Okay, that's the kind of stuff that's going to help you move them closer and closer to what you want them to do. Now, once you have the team doing it and moving forward, then it's easier when you bring in new people, because you're taking them through the discipline and everybody around them's doing it. But you can't just put them through training and say, go do it, and then not provide them with any of the tools that they need to be successful. Believe me, there's little 3x5 cards, a one-sheeter, an outline, a document that explains what happened in a deal specific to the sales methodology you've learned about, the execution. That stuff sticks with people. Everybody's different, right? So some are verbal, some are visual, some like to read, they're tactile, they like to touch. So you're covering all your bases. You're having the meetings and the coaching sessions. That's very verbal, and in some cases visual. You're putting stuff in writing, so it's written so they can read it. It's also tactile. They can print it out and hold on to it, touch it and feel it. That's good too. So covering all your bases to make sure they're surrounded by this and they're supported in their daily actions is important to success. All right, discipline's easy. No, it's not. Just kidding. Discipline's hard. But you have to hold the line. The minute you start giving in is the minute that the sales reps see a break or a weakness and they head for the door. And the door, what I mean by heading for the door, is they stop doing it. Well, it's just another thing they tried to implement, but we outlasted them. Hold the line. You need to do this or face the consequences. The consequences are going right back to where you started from before. So if you're the person that was able to talk somebody into ownership or VP or whatever, the budget to do this training, and it doesn't stick, you're on the line. If you own the company, you're wasting your money. You need to go back and look at all those times you spent money on stuff, all those things that you went through or had people go through. How often did you succeed through that? And ask yourself, is it the companies you're doing business with, or is it you? How do I know? Because it comes back sometimes to me. People come back and say, well, this really isn't working. That's interesting. You haven't done a darn thing I've asked you to do. You've listened, we've had the conversation, but you haven't executed. And when people execute, they succeed. So there's no quarter here. Everybody on board, in, feet first. This is what we're doing. People need to be held accountable to that. Managers on down. So if somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you want to provide them the support and the help and everything they need to be successful. But you're not going to accept just not doing it. It's not acceptable. Life doesn't work that way. Business doesn't work that way. Sales doesn't work that way. But they're selling a lot. This person's just killing it for me. Why would I want to mess that up? I hear you. I feel you. But having 6 different sales reps doing 6 different methodologies is not healthy for any company. And if they're good, they'll make the adjustment. You might say, well, I risk. Yeah, you do. I'm not going to say you don't, because it's a lie. You risk somebody at the high end giving you problems. So you slowly move them where they need to be. But you can't move forward as a company. You cannot grow your revenue in the other kind of environment. Different people doing different things at their own pace, at their own decision-making level. Yeah, you might have somebody killing it, but you have a bunch of mediocre or below level reps in the mix, and you're constantly churning. You're never getting out from under. This is the way to do it. Hold the line. Full accountability. Thanks for listening to The Funnel. You can find us at alignment-group.com/The Funnel. We have on the funnel page pretty much everything you need. Show notes. So, and show notes on each specific episode. The video of the episode. So if you want to sit at your desktop and watch the video, or on a mobile device, that's fine too. You can sign up on that page, receive your free coaching call, and whatever else we send to our listeners. Of course, you can contact us on Facebook. My Twitter's at ShayJohnR. I'm on LinkedIn. Contact me at jshay@alignment-group.com, or head on over to the website, alignment-group.com. Again, thank you for subscribing, and as always, keep filling the funnel.